Hello, this is Jack Neff, editor-at-large of Ad Age, and welcome to our latest edition of the Marketer's Brief podcast, our weekly discussion about marketing news and trends. The marketing industry has been obsessed with AI, the rare trend that dominated conversation at 2 consecutive Cannes Lions festivals, but marketers are often vague about exactly how they're implementing AI. Not so with Fabrice Beaulieu, Chief Marketing, Sustainability, and Corporate Affairs Officer of Reckitt, who recently sat down for interviews entirely about AI during Cannes with a follow-up last month. In this podcast, Beaulieu talks about how Reckitt is applying AI to get insights faster and reduce tedious work at the company, which markets brands such as Lysol, Mucinex, and Airwick. Bottom line, he doesn't believe AI is going to take marketers' jobs, but it is going to eliminate some of the tedium and make some of the work more effective and accurate. Here's my conversation with Fabrice. AI certainly has been, the topic du jour this year at Cannes, probably every year at Cannes. But I get a sense that marketers are doing a lot more to truly operationalize it now. Is that the case for Reckitt?
It definitely is.
Tell me about how you're going about it.
We're a consumer goods company. Reckitt operates in consumer health and hygiene. We sell 30 million products every day all over the world. For a company like us, there's probably three main opportunities: office productivity, redefining functions, the way functions work, and new business models. Office productivity is when you get a copilot on your email. Domain reinvention is when technology helps a marketer, a chemist work better, faster. And new business models are services like Beauty Genius from L'Oréal, which helps you understand people better to serve them even better.
Where at this point do you see AI making the most impact in marketing?
The opportunity of generative AI in marketing is end-to-end, as was the opportunity and as is the opportunity of analytical AI. If you look back at the journey we've been on, in the space of insights and analytics, machine learning has been transformational for us in the past 3 years. And now on that data maturity and on this foundational layer of algorithm, we can apply the additional power of generative AI and get to the next level.
Does Reckitt have a blanket AI policy? And if so, what are some of the highlights of how you do things?
In Reckitt today, we have machine learning in action across 40 capabilities, 40. We've been operating with AI across these capabilities for years now, and we have developed what we call a responsible AI framework. Whatever we will do on generative AI will tie back closely to that responsible AI framework, and we will also have specific principles, for instance, around creativity and talents.
What is the role of generative AI for Reckitt right now in terms of creative development?
Broadly speaking, we are focusing on reinventing the way we work thanks to generative AI. And at Reckitt, marketing is paving the way for that. We are approaching the opportunity of generative AI end-to-end in marketing. It can help us work better and faster in creativity, in innovation, and in all these daily tasks which involve reading, writing, synthesizing, and recommending.
Does Reckitt have a single AI platform it's using to build things with, or are you using several or building your own?
From a technology perspective, we follow a simple framework, which we describe as adopt, adapt, assemble, and we adopt the tools as they are when it's all we need. We adapt them when the GPTs, for instance, require proper context with our data or our tacit knowledge. And on some specific use cases where we want to build a lasting competitive advantage, we've assembled our own bricks of technology.
How much does this play out with the agencies you work with, and how much with the internal marketing team in terms of how it's used?
The agencies are going through a similar transformation as we are. They see the opportunity. They are organizing themselves to manage the risks going with the technology. I'm amazed by their engagement and partnership on that as on the rest. The agencies are like us non-tech companies. They are going through a big transformation. Their response to the opportunities of the technology has been nothing short of spectacular, at least when it comes to the people we work closely with.
Certainly for creative development, AI seems to make logical sense for mass customization of messaging and things like that. Is that a primary way that you're using it, or are you using it for all kinds of creative elements and applications? How were you?
There's a big opportunity around generative AI and executing against multiple audiences across multiple platforms. The reality is that even if you have multiple audiences and a clear strategy to approach them across a fragmented digital landscape, sometimes the economics prevent you from executing against that strategy. You just don't have enough budget, or maybe it's not practical to create all the assets that your audiences would require. I believe that generative AI is going to lower the economic pressure on creative assets and therefore creative teams, and it's going to help us engage better with our consumers.
It seems that AI can play out particularly well in retail media, where it can help customize messages or continuously optimize creative and product detail pages and things like that. Are you seeing that?
The opportunity is a full funnel opportunity. There will be opportunities with AI to get more precise on the ROI per touch point, and there will be opportunities with generative AI to engage better audiences across the entire funnel.
Some marketers have established publicly guardrails and guidelines for how AI will be used, such as Dove's campaign for real beauty and such. I believe L'Oreal has done that. Have you established anything like that where, you're not going to use it to artificially create humans or anything like that?
It's very important to have this responsible AI framework in place. We have it. We are also enriching it with the specificities that come from generative AI. It's particularly true around creativity, and it's particularly true around talent. Talent has to be treated fairly. Extended usage rights have to be in place. That's a conversation that obviously we're having with our agency partners. I've seen with great interest the different approaches that have been led in the beauty sector. I believe that nothing matters more for brands than trust. We operate in consumer health, and our brands have to be the beacon of trust that they are. We have a responsible AI framework. Generative AI ties to that framework, and we have specific principles for creativity and for talent. I think it's essential that we use generative AI to foster trust into our brands. And today, I don't think that creating synthetic talent in advertising is going to be helpful to enhance the trust into brands.
I'm also hearing that there are some folks are doing, as they're doing reviews for AI systems or capabilities, that RFPs are looking into things like intellectual property rights to ensure that whoever is providing the AI is actually secured those properly, or also to protect the company's own intellectual property rights, so that what you learn isn't necessarily passed back through the AI to benefit competitors. Is that something that you're doing?
The IP conversation is central to that space. There are two important things, in my opinion. One is to have a healthy conversation with the tech providers to understand how the models have been built and the IP rights which come attached to it. The other one is obviously how you manage your own data and how you ensure that what comes out of it is yours. It helps, in my opinion, to have a strong focus on data for building competitive advantages in the space of generative AI. And that's why for insights and innovation, for instance, we've assembled our own bricks of technology to be fully in control of what comes from this augmented innovation machine.
How broadly is AI affecting what you do in media?
AI has transformed the way we measure media much more broadly. AI has also influenced the way we look at returns on investments. It's thanks to machine learning that one can really look at future investments in a very granular way. Where should the next dollar go? Should it go in this marketing space? Should it go in this trade space? And how to make trade-offs between the two. Generative AI will put all of this on steroids.
Are you using it in product development at this point?
One thing that is amazing with the technology is how it can help make sense of a maze of unstructured data. We have spent a lot of time experimenting in the space of insights, and what we've managed to create is our own technology to surface fresh insights from all the consumer information we have, and even move from these insights into winning concepts with a higher quality and even much faster development times.
There are also implications for research and insight, some of which you've talked about, but in some cases replacing conventional market research by going so far as to generate animated personas based on customer profiles, where you can query them, carry on conversations. Is this something you're trying or appeals in any way?
I think generative AI is going to transform the way we innovate in CPG. And if you think about the technology and what it can bring to you, you want to build lasting advantage, not just an early mover advantage. Where do the advantages lie when you're a company that operates like us across tens of categories? Well, it's in consumer understanding and consumer information. Generative AI is amazing at helping make sense of unstructured data. We want to use it a lot there to surface fresh insights and to move from insights into winning concepts much faster.
There are some companies, such as P&G, I've heard of, using AI to pre-test ads, basically gather the database of prior copy tests for learning that can be applied to new advertising. And I think that, Kantar is starting to apply that in a similar way. Is that something that Reckitt is interested in doing?
One of the big advantages of these technologies is that you can provide context to the software. These softwares augment prompt, take the user prompt, and they make it into a longer prompt that gets you a better answer from the LLMs. That's what we do. And context one can provide, of course, is compliance, the rules that one needs to comply to be successful against different platforms. So you can give your brand guidelines, you can also give platform guidelines, and that can help get better results altogether on your creative effectiveness.
Are there limits to how much you can automate in consumer research in this way, or in the rest of marketing for that matter?
Let's start with the facts. We've seen potential efficiencies in time of around 60% to get to a winning concept. We've also seen up to 30% in time efficiency to get to a winning adaptation of an asset or a winning localization of an asset. These are from the pilots that we've done in the last few months with our own technology. That's encouraging, and it offers a lot of opportunity. One of these opportunities is to have a community of marketeers spend time on where they can add the most value. The one fundamental belief is that the machine is there to augment the human, to help her or him do a better job and bring more value, whether it's to an ad or to an innovation program. And our entire thinking is revolving around long-lasting competitive advantage and really augmenting the capabilities of our teams to do the work faster, but importantly, better. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why the people who have worked on that program at Reckitt are extraordinarily enthusiastic about it. The insight we get is that they have this feeling of working for the company and to future-proof themselves at the same time. I think it's a very exciting space for a community of marketeers. When you get an opportunity to better yourself, to augment yourself in the process of doing your job, well, what's not to like about it?
I have heard of some companies, at least one in the space, that's been doing AI training across the workforce, from the senior managers to the brand marketers and everyone really. I was wondering if that's something that Reckitt has been doing or something that you think will happen in the future.
We're definitely putting in place the required training. We will launch a podcast of our own, learning, Jack, from the masters in this space in September. And I'll tell you one thing I found useful in my journey in that space, it's to look under the hood of the technology. So I make sure to spend enough time regularly with the people working on the tech, looking at the code with them, and developing at least an intuition for how all of this works. It helps ask better questions and steer the enterprise in the right direction.
I had a couple of additional questions I had, and it looks like we've got a little bit of time. One is just topical. Speaking at Cannes, Elon Musk kind of indicated that AI is going to take everybody's jobs here. It may not have been quite that blunt, but what's your thoughts on, what impact it does have on people in the industry? Is it going to take people's jobs, or is it just going to change people's jobs?
AI doesn't replace jobs. AI automates tasks. The first thing that we've done at Reckitt is to categorize all the tasks that collectively our 2,000 marketeers perform. There's roughly 300 different tasks. And when you look at the technology and what it can do when applied to these 300 tasks, there's probably a third of them where it makes sense to use generative AI. So first, it puts things in perspective. Now, if you take this third of all the things marketeers do, and you think about the productivity enabled by the technology, one can decide to reinvest the time saved the way they want. I think there's a big opportunity to have some of that time saved invested in added value work. I would love for our community of marketeers to spend more time with consumers, with customers, with our agency partners, improve the discussions around the briefs, and maybe get even more into people's lives to just serve them better.
You are Chief Marketing and Sustainability Officer, and one thing about AI that isn't talked about that much is actually the sustainability aspect. And those NVIDIA chips use a lot of energy. The server farms use a lot of water to cool those servers that are running hot from all that energy. And I was wondering if that is an issue you look at just in terms of looking at the overall carbon impact of what you do, and alternately, can AI help improve what impact you do have in that area?
I am absolutely convinced that to decarbonize a large CPG company, one needs to use AI, machine learning, first and foremost. In a consumer goods company, emissions are mostly in what is called scope 3. Not just the energy that you use in your own operations, but the emission released in your supply chain upstream, for instance. 60% of the emissions of Reckitt are in product and packaging. And the way to decarbonize product is to understand ingredient by ingredient how much CO2 is emitted and how you can evolve that looking at different ingredients or different suppliers for the same ingredient. What I'm saying is that AI, analytical AI, is a fantastic tool to make better decisions when it comes to innovating products with a more sustainable footprint.
Tell me about your pilot with Boston Consulting Group.
Well, Jack, you've heard me before describe the three main ways GenAI can add value to non-tech companies like Reckitt. And these three ways are office productivity, domain reinvention, and new business models. At Reckitt, we've doubled down on domain reinvention for marketing. So where did we start? Well, our IT and digital team, in partnership with BCG, indeed, undertook a series of pilots across our brands Finish and Gaviscon, and the company's overall marketing function. And we did that over a 4-month period. And our first results demonstrate what I would like to call, what I think we can call the changing face of marketing. Because now we have the proof that we can enhance both productivity and growth in marketing thanks to GenAI. In our pilots, we've generated better outcomes in creativity and in insights in less time. And to be perfectly concrete, this is what we experience: up to 60% faster concept development and 30% faster ad adaptation and ad localization.
How much have you tried using AI to generate creative ideas versus adapting existing ones for wider use across tactics and across countries?
Well, Gen AI can do both: stimulate creativity and produce advertising content more efficiently. In these first pilots, we've focused on the latter: efficient content production. We've used Gen AI to do two things mainly. One, to adapt assets for full funnel use, and two, to localize them between countries. And we found an approximate 30% reduction in the time needed to adapt and localize ads. 30%, 30. We also found, interestingly, an increased consistency in asset quality, which is equally exciting.
You also had a major progress in reducing drudgery and repetitive tasks in, say, post campaign media analysis, correct?
Yes, yes, definitely. In our pilots, we proved that time spent on everyday tasks can be reduced drastically. Think of all the strategic documents that marketeers write all year long: market share analysis, media post campaign reports, to your point. In our pilots, we did run a post campaign media analysis on Gaviscon in the UK market. That's a typical example of an analysis involving a lot of reading and a lot of data points. The time spent on this work with the Gen AI tool reduced by 90%. 90%. And the teams who were involved in the pilot were literally enthusiastic about it. They could spend so much more time using the analysis as opposed to crafting the analysis.
You also just improved the quality and accuracy of the output versus just having humans do the work, right?
Absolutely. Well, let's go back to my post-campaign media analysis example. The time spent to do the analysis reduced by 90%, and the quality of the analysis improved twofold. If we put that simply, the analysis was much more actionable. And importantly, the teams could focus their time on implementing this analysis and the recommendations that came with it. You could say that their focus shifted towards improving the campaign ROI rather than writing a report.
How much potential do you see in using AI to ingest all of the data points you've got from all of the sources and finding new insights and answers to why questions behind consumer decisions?
Well, that's such a great question. Marketeers are often data rich, sometimes data super rich, but their data is not necessarily structured. That data that is used in marketing can take the form of thousands of consumer reports across tens of markets. And Gen AI has this extraordinary ability to make sense of unstructured data. Frameworks like RAG are very helpful for that. We've used RAG on our brand finish to turn tens of thousands of pages of consumer data into insightful new ideas and marketable concepts. And our pilots show that by using Gen AI, teams can reduce concept development time by up to 60%, while significantly improve quality. Our findings are early findings, of course, but they are extremely promising and very exciting.
You mentioned RAG. I think that sounds like an acronym. What is that?
Retrieval augmented generation.
Part of your pilot with BCG was also about reducing scope 3 emissions. Tell me about that and how much impact you expect that to have.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. This is such an important part of the work. We are using AI and Gen AI to help cut our scope 3 emissions. Our company objective is a 50% reduction by 2030 versus 2015 as a base year. And eventually, what we ambition is to achieve net zero, and we want to do that by 2040. We've worked with two companies. One of them is CO2 AI, a BCG spin-off, and the other one is Quantis. And what we've done is collected over 300,000 data points to get more detailed insights into emissions per product, using AI and Gen AI to transform these data points into a faster and more accurate carbon footprint. The process I described used to be very manual, which means time consuming and less precise. And working with technology, in just under 4 months, we've been able to obtain precise emissions data for each of our 25,000 products, and we've improved the accuracy of our emissions footprint by 75 times. 75 times. And because we've done all of this work, we have found new ways, very promising ways, to reduce our emissions further by 2030. All of this shows that GenAI offers huge opportunities for productivity and for growth, but only if harnessed in the right way. The challenge is to rethink the way the entire marketing community operates, end to end. And that also means that for CMOs and senior leaders in general, embracing GenAI successfully will come down to excellence in change management and intentional leadership.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jack. It's always a pleasure.
That was Fabrice Beaulieu, Chief Marketing, Sustainability, and Corporate Affairs Officer of Reckitt, and I'm Jack Neff, Editor-at-Large of Ad Age. I'd like to thank our producer, Lauren Ciardio, and invite you to subscribe to the Marketer's Brief podcast on your favorite player.
Marketer's Brief listeners get $40 off an adage.com subscription. Sharpen your marketing edge and visit adage.com/brief for your discount.